What happens if Amber Heard lied under oath? If you clicked on this video, then I assume you're already pretty familiar with what's going on right now in the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation trial. If you clicked on this video though and you have no idea who either of those people are, and now you're trapped in this weird place where you aren't sure whether to click off or listen and try to figure out who these people are, then let me make it easy for you. Johnny Depp is obviously one of the biggest movie stars of our generation and has been in some incredible blockbusters such as Pirates of the Caribbean or Edward Scissorhands, and is often regarded as one of the better actors of the last few decades. Amber Heard, as described by Google, is an American actress and activist. She is known for her roles in the films Never Back Down, Drive Angry, The Rum Diary, and in playing Mira in Aquaman in its upcoming 2023 sequel in the DC Extended Universe. She's a spokesperson for L'Oreal Paris and a human rights activist. So these are our characters, and they are going head to head in a defamation trial right now. But your next and very fair question is, why are they doing that? Well, they're doing that because the pair were married for a time, and based on the reports from both sides, it didn't go very well. The pair got married back in 2015 and were basically only together for a bit over a year before filing for a divorce and separating. In that time, things were reportedly very toxic between the couple. During the process of filing for a divorce, Amber Heard also tried to get a restraining order on Johnny Depp because she was afraid of him. Apparently, he had been abusive to her in their relationship and she didn't feel safe. In fact, we can quote what she said during the filing of that restraining order. She wrote, "During the entirety of our relationship, Johnny has been verbally and physically abusive to me. I endured excessive emotional, verbal, and physical abuse from Johnny, which has included angry, hostile, humiliating, and threatening assaults to me whenever I questioned his authority or disagreed with him. I live in fear that Johnny will return to our house unannounced to terrorize me physically and emotionally." This is obviously some pretty serious stuff that's getting thrown around here and wasn't great for Johnny Depp's image. Work opportunities started to become fewer and further between for the actor, and public opinion of him definitely dipped. His career was going to take another turn for the worse though, because in late 2018, Amber Heard published an op-ed article called "I Spoke Up Against Sexual Violence and Faced Our Culture's Wrath. That has to change." Now, in this article, she doesn't go on to name Johnny Depp personally. She does, however, go into detail on some pretty horrible things that happened to her while she's in the relationship she's describing. It's also pretty clear to the reader that even though Depp's name doesn't get tossed in there, it's him that she's talking about. So that's sort of the background on what's been going on right now. Depp's career took a nosedive after that article, and he is suing Amber Heard for defaming him. Then she's countersuing him for like $100 million, and it's all just kind of nuts right now. This case is really a tough one for the judge and jurors though. This case, at the root of it all, is a classic he said, she said story. Who do we ultimately trust? Amber Heard or Johnny Depp? That's what it boils down to. Trust. And ultimately, that's what this question boils down to as well. Basically looking at what would happen if what Amber Heard has come out and said under oath is a lie. Now, we're going to break this down and go down the theoretical rabbit hole, but before we do, I just want to make it very clear that this is all theoretical. At this channel, we certainly don't claim to know more about this case than anybody else. We have no insider information and certainly don't want to lead any of you to think that we do. Because we have no insider information and effectively don't know anything about anything, we also don't want to pass any judgments over people as well. The court's job is to decide what is true and not true and then pass a judgment. Our job, though, is to answer weird and ridiculous questions for your enjoyment. So, let's do it. Well, first off, if Amber Heard lied under oath, then that is very illegal. This crime is known as perjury, and it is actually very serious. FindLaw writes, To perjure yourself is to knowingly make misleading or false statements under oath, or to sign a legal document you know to be false or misleading. This crime is taken very seriously because the foundation of the legal system depends on trust and credibility. After all, just one sworn statement has the power to tip the scales of justice and dramatically alter someone's life. Perjury is considered a crime against justice since lying under oath compromises the authority of courts, grand juries, governing bodies, and public officials. Other crimes against justice include criminal contempt of court, probation violation, and tampering with evidence. So that's the crime of perjury. But what type of punishment does it hold if you're found guilty of doing it? Well, Find Law goes on to say, state and federal penalties for perjury include fines and/or prison terms upon conviction. Federal law, for example, states that anybody found guilty of the crime will be fined or imprisoned for up to 5 years. Most state laws have similar provisions, but judges typically have discretion to use leniency where appropriate. And if you're convicted, you may even lose your livelihood. If you work in a profession where truthfulness is valued, such as the legal profession, law enforcement, and some public service jobs, you could lose your professional license. So there isn't a one-size-fits-all punishment, but it can be very serious. And if Amber Heard is proven to have lied under oath, then she could end up facing these charges. She would also most likely lose her case against Johnny Depp as well. Now this all depends on what she lied about, but if proof comes out against her that she perjured herself during this case, then one has to imagine that all credibility is gone. I can't possibly see anyone siding with her after that, even if it was just a tiny fib that didn't really impact the outcome of the case at all. And the outcome of the case is important here as well. When do we find out that she lied in this made-up world? Is it today? Is it a year from today? Is it a decade from now? Will the case already be decided by the time this info comes out? Because that would drastically change everything. Let's say she goes on to win this suit, but then 2 years from now it comes out that she lied under oath. Would Johnny Depp sue her again and then win that case? We enter into a pretty bad gray area where I don't think anyone wants to go. If Amber Heard is lying under oath, then I feel really bad for Johnny Depp. If she's lying about the abuse, then that really isn't cool. Now once again, we don't know anything about anything. Maybe she is telling the truth. Maybe she isn't. This is why this case is so difficult to figure out. I'll be honest though guys, kinda hoping she's telling the truth about the whole poo story. The way she tells it, the dog pooed in the bed and it wasn't her. For the sake of everything that is holy, I'm kinda really hoping that it was in fact the dog and not her, cause I don't know, I think pooing in the bed is where I draw the line.
Obviously this trial has been quite a roller coaster, and we're all quite aware that one side appears to be more in the wrong than the other. This may be due to a myriad of things like bad attorneys, weak testimonies on behalf of Amber Heard, and some pretty solid testimonies on behalf of Johnny Depp. But one thing continues to cause issues in the courtroom, and that is the behavior of the defendant, Amber Heard. Many people think that maybe she has issues beyond tendencies towards abuse and lying. Some people are starting to wonder if Amber Heard is a sociopath, and there may be some truth to that. Let's take a look into it, shall we? First, let's try and understand what sociopathic behavior entails. It's basically a mental disorder in which a person consistently shows no regard for right and wrong, and ignores the rights and feelings of others. People with antisocial personality disorder tend to antagonize, manipulate, or treat others harshly or with a callous indifference. They also tend to show no guilt or remorse for their behavior after the fact. Individuals with antisocial personality disorder often violate the law and end up becoming criminals as a result. They may lie, behave violently or impulsively, and have problems with drug and alcohol use. Because of these characteristics, people with this disorder typically can't fulfill responsibilities related to family, work, or school. Some of the symptoms of sociopathy are a disregard for right and wrong, persistent lying or deceit to exploit others, callousness, and arrogance. They also tend to use charm or wit to manipulate others for personal gain, or personal pleasure. So if that description sounds like Amber Heard, then it's up to you whether or not you'd want to draw a conclusion here. But even though it wouldn't be an official diagnosis, her behavior in and out of court all seem to point to perhaps this type of behavior. Now, it's important to give her the benefit of the doubt since the trial isn't complete yet, and assume that she could also just be a person who has made a number of selfish and perhaps seemingly manipulative choices while in her right mind. And although that may sound like we're letting her off the hook, remember that this assumption would give her even less credibility in the case of her alleged abusive behavior. Giving her a diagnosis of mental illness sort of moves towards justifying her actions, if anything. One bit of behavior that I've noticed could be an example of sociopathic behavior is how Amber Heard continuously glances over at the jury whenever she speaks, as if she's trying to convince them of everything she says. This behavior makes it seem like somewhere deep down, even she knows she's perhaps being untruthful and needs to constantly convince others of her false narratives. On the other hand, she could just be looking to see what the jury's thinking because she knows it will affect the outcome of this case. Another example that might suggest Amber Heard is a sociopath is her sense of superiority over others. She appears so calm and confident in court, but it seems as though this calm isn't inspired by any genuine peace of mind, but instead it seems like it's brought on by an unjustified arrogance, as if she is completely in the right without any wavering in her convictions, and completely confident regardless of what she may have done wrong in the past. For example, even when she's caught in a blatant lie, there is no sense that she feels any shame for lying, but instead exerts a sense of heightened confidence, like getting caught in a lie doesn't even affect her, or like it's somehow justified in some way, as if she believes that the jury and the other members of the court hadn't just been exposed to blatant evidence that she was being deceptive. This could be considered sociopathic because she herself seems to be convinced that she hasn't told a lie, which is the behavior of someone who is living in a totally different reality, one that they've constructed themselves. Another behavior trait of sociopathy is that those with the disorder tend to have poor or abusive relationships, which is, well, that one's pretty self-explanatory in the case of Amber Heard. On their own, someone with relationship issues shouldn't be deemed a sociopath, but paired with everything else we've discussed so far, this is a major point to acknowledge. It's also noted that sociopaths tend to have issues fulfilling work and financial obligations, and with Amber Heard failing to follow through with her intentions to donate her divorce settlement funds, this is another shocking point that really makes us wonder. So since we're not psychologists, we can't make an official diagnosis, but we can still speculate in an attempt to better understand the behavior of Amber Heard in this very, very complex trial. Whether or not Amber Heard is found guilty, there's no question that she's been exhibiting problematic behavior that might be in line with sociopathy. But for a proper diagnosis, we'd have to wait for a professional to do a proper examination. It actually might be interesting to see what a professional thinks about this. So if any of you out there are registered psychologists or psychotherapists, let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are.
After Amber Heard and Johnny Depp officially divorced from one another in 2016, Amber stood in court and pledged to give the full $7 million she received from the divorce settlement to charity. She chose Children's Hospital Los Angeles and the American Civil Liberties Union, better known as the ACLU. At this point in time, Amber was viewed as a victim of domestic harm done against her by Johnny Depp. The world considered it a selfless altruistic act to donate the full amount she got from the divorce despite receiving so much emotional and physical distress from her relationship. But it's been uncovered today that that is the furthest from the truth. As per a 2016 CNN article, Amber released a statement as described in the restraining order and divorce settlement. Money played no role for me personally and never has, except to the extent that I could donate it to charity and in doing so, hopefully help those less able to defend themselves. This is over and above any funds that I have given away in the past and will continue to give away in the future. In the following months, Johnny Depp paid Amber Heard her settlement in installments over 13 months. The final installment, a payment of $2.3 million, was paid on the 1st of February. February in 2018. 2 years after he paid Amber out, Johnny sued The Sun in the UK for libel after they published an article calling Johnny a wife beater. During this trial, Amber claimed several times, including under oath, that she had donated the entire settlement to charity. And no one really looked into it because there was a full 2 years between her receiving the last payment and the libel trial, so she had plenty of time to do so. Again, in 2018, she stated on a talk show, $7 million in total was donated. I split it between the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. I wanted nothing. But now that Amber is being sued directly for defamation, she has officially admitted to not donating the full $3.5 million that she had pledged to the ACLU. This was only after a representative from the charity testified earlier in the case that while they had received some money, it fell far short of what they were promised. In fact, they had only been sent $1.3 million by Amber and on her behalf. Of that money, Amber herself only contributed $350,000 in December 2018, 10 months after she got the last of the money, and she has paid nothing since. $100,000 was paid by Johnny Depp, another $350,000 came from an investment fund, and surprisingly, $500,000 came from Vanguard, a fund set up by Elon Musk. So, of the money that was donated that is even connected to her, Amber has really only paid $350,000 of the $3.5 million she had promised to the charity. When she was questioned in court as to why Amber had not donated the full amount of money, she stated, "I fully intend to honor all of my pledges. I would love for him to stop suing me so I can." She also said, "I didn't care about the money. I was told if I didn't agree to a number, it could be overturned. We would never settle. I took far less than what they were offering and what I was entitled to." She also stated that she chose to donate to the charity because she was never interested in Johnny's money. Continuing to skirt around the actual question, she elaborated further, "I just wanted my safety and my future, and he compromised that. I wanted him to leave me alone. I've been saying that since 2016. Despite stating that she asked for far less than she was entitled to, the initial divorce proceedings saw her raise the amount she demanded from $4 million initially to $5 million, then $5.5 million, before jumping to the $7 million she was paid out. On top of that, Johnny also paid for the entire legal proceedings, meaning that Amber's divorce attorney and entire time in court was free, while Johnny paid a cool $14.25 million. She was, in turn, accused by Johnny's lawyers during the cross-examination period of going after the actor's money. Although she resolutely denied it, there isn't much evidence that would make that claim. And while the words have yet to be uttered in court, this could potentially loom very large for Amber, as it's now on record that she lied under oath about donating the full amount she received from Johnny to charity. She could at most potentially face perjury charges in the United Kingdom. One lawyer stated on the issue, "While it may not be the central issue to the case, perjury is the single biggest threat and cuts to the core of our justice system. So the police may be invited to investigate to show that any member of the public who lies to the court can be prosecuted for perjury." It's all entirely speculation at this point, however. If she does face charges of perjury, it would only occur after the defamation suit, which is not a criminal case, so she's not going to jail even if she does lose this case. But on the chance that she is pursued for perjury, that consequence means jail time because it is a criminal case. Using the excuse of Johnny's lawsuit as a main reason why she didn't donate the full amount doesn't matter. It's not considerable when you take into consideration the amount of time that passed between the divorce and her op-ed. She had plenty of time to donate the full amount. At the very least, however, even if she doesn't face criminal court for scamming a charity, she has now been on record lying to the court, and this could make the jury very suspicious of what else she hasn't been completely honest about, given how her story of what happened seems to be just as dysfunctional as her relationship with Johnny was. However, Johnny and his team still have an uphill legal battle to fight though, and only time will tell who's going to come out of this with their career intact. But please let me know what you think about this question down below. As always, I just like to put it out there that we really don't know anything about anything with this case, and that's what the judges are for, guys. That's why we have the legal system, so it's all speculation at this point, guys. A big theoretical rabbit hole. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Nicholas Playlog, and I'll catch you next time.